I mean, I was told by my film professor, there are films and there are movies, and sometimes you've got to know what you're walking into.
Yeah. See, but I come from a time when movies were films.
All right, so before we begin this episode, I should quickly just preference that if I sound like I'm in a bad mood, it's because I kind of am in a bad mood. I went to Chick-fil-A earlier today for lunch, which was a pretty cool lunch. They messed up my order at Chick-fil-A, which I understand. I'm an adult. I'm a grown man. I shouldn't be upset at a Chick-fil-A sandwich being missing from my bag. But, still, it did kind of ruin my day a little bit. So if I sound a little bit upset, that's the reason why. And yes, I did order 2 chicken sandwiches in one order for me. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. I work out 3 times a week. I need a lot of protein. So, that not being in the bag, it messed things up for me. It really made me a little bit upset. So, I'll try not to let it interfere with the episode, but still, I wanted to preface that before we go into it. So with the cold open out of the way, thanks to Chick-fil-A for ruining my day. My name's Logan. Welcome back to the Court of Cinema podcast. Here we talk about everything film and TV. And in today's episode, we have a little bit of a stacked schedule. We're doing number 1, our Fantastic Four First Steps review, which I saw yesterday on Sunday. And then, today's Tuesday. I'm sorry. I saw it on Sunday. I watched it Sunday, then Monday went by, and now it's Tuesday. So I watched it a couple days ago on Sunday. And then I also will be talking about the new Avatar trailer, which I saw before Monday when it released. I saw it on Sunday exclusively in IMAX, which is very, very cool. And then in addition to the Avatar trailer, I'll be discussing the new Christopher Nolan Odyssey trailer. It's only in theaters. It's been in theaters for, I guess, a month now. It premiered in theaters back when Jurassic World first released. But they did put together a very small little teaser. It has some footage in there. So I do want to discuss it. I saw the trailer first when I saw Superman in IMAX. I got to see the trailer a second time when I saw the Fantastic Four in IMAX. So I just want to discuss it. That trailer looks insane, and I have some thoughts about Christopher Nolan and James Gunn releasing some incredible piece of spectacle. But before we get into all those things, we're going to be going to Fantastic Four. So I'm going to go ahead and start diving into that movie right about now. Against the vibrant backdrop of the 1960s-inspired retro-futuristic world, Marvel's first family is forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond while defending Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his enigmatic Herald, Silver Surfer. And this movie obviously is directed by Matt Shakman, who also came here from WandaVision. WandaVision was a pretty cool Disney Plus show. I'm definitely a little bit of a fan of it. It was okay for a bit. Then for writing with this movie, we do have 4 different credits here. One is Josh Friedman. He previously was actually working on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, a pretty solid movie. Also, he's working on Avatar 4, which is also a pretty cool one. And in addition to that, he's working on an untitled Star Trek 4 movie as well. Definitely has some cool things in his arsenal. Also, for writing this movie, we do have Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, and also Ian Springer. Some pretty solid writers here. Then going into our cinematography, we do have Jess Hall. And for the composing for the film, we do have composer Michael Giacchino, who's been on, I think, a generational run with Spider-Man, then the Batman. Then he also did Fantastic Four, which is definitely a, top 10 Marvel theme, I would say, at the very least. He did a very good job here with the score, and he's continuing to build an incredible career. I think that if it wasn't for Hans Zimmer, he would be right now number 2 for, in terms of who's the best right now. I think it's Hans Zimmer, and also John Williams is still making some scores out there, but still, if we're talking about just an incredible composer, Michael Giacchino, he's one of them. And then as for my thoughts going into Fantastic Four, this is definitely not my first Fantastic Four film. In fact, actually earlier this year, we did a little bit of a mini-series, a 3-episode series. We talked about those previous Fantastic Four films, so we talked about Fantastic, Fantastic Four, then Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, which I do recommend you go listen to those. Those were some pretty fun episodes. I definitely really enjoyed them. And this is definitely the best Fantastic Four movie. I definitely went into this film knowing that would be the case. The bar is extremely low in terms of Fantastic Four quality in the previous years. Fantastic was a terrible film, and the other ones weren't that good either. So going to this movie, I was definitely interested and excited. I was actually very hyped for it. Then my hype died down because of Superman. And then now my hype for the film kind of rose back up because Superman's, long over. So, I definitely liked it. I definitely really did enjoy it. It's definitely a really good movie. And I'll just be discussing here today my pros to the film, my cons for the movie, and then in terms of should you go see it, is this a movie for you? And in addition to that, I'll also just be going through the future of Marvel. You know, this is a big movie here. This is one of the last movies before we go into Avengers Doomsday. So the movie is clearly, if you saw the film, I won't say spoilers here today, but still, the movie is clearly setting up for the future of the MCU and the future Avengers movies for sure. So just going quickly here into my pros for the movie and what I think really worked is that this movie is one of the darkest MCU movies ever, if not the darkest. I understand we've had a lot of very dark movies, and I'm not trying to say that the MCU is all the time extremely lighthearted stories. It's definitely not the case. I mean, I recently did a rewatch of the Infinity Saga back in December. I still actually have a couple of films to go through for that rewatch, but still, I rewatched a good 95% of the MCU Infinity Saga era of movies. And, you know, movies like Captain America First Avenger, Civil War, Winter Soldier, those are very dark movies. Even going into like Black Panther, list goes on of even like Thunderbolts this year recently. There's been plenty of very dark movies, but this one I feel like is for the most part possibly the darkest movie in the MCU by far. I mean, obviously I know First Avenger is a World War II movie, but still, this one being really mainly about Galactus, about to eat the Earth, the movie really doesn't have a lot of time for fun and jokes and playing games. I mean, it definitely has those very fun banter moments between the characters, but still, for the most part, it's a very dark and serious tonally with the movie. And once again, not to say that the MCU has just 100% all the time jokes and fun and laughs. The MCU is still a very dark set of stories. And I understand there's definitely some very vocal critiques out there that the MCU is way too funny. But this movie, it cuts back on the jokes and focuses more on the incredibly dark tone that really actually makes sense to do that. I definitely do appreciate that. I think that for me, that makes it already one of my, I'll say at least top 12 favorite MCU films ever. I just saw it on Sunday, so it's hard in terms of where I think I want to rank this movie, but it's definitely at least top 12, top 10 MCU movie. They did a pretty solid job. And then obviously, just who is they that did a good job. Number one, just thanks to the incredible cast and crew for the movie. Also, movie theater employees, thank you for, you know, my Rego I went to. You guys keep it at a very tight pirate ship level of enthusiasm, and also just being a strong crew of workers. You guys did awesome. So yeah, they did great here with the movie. Cast and crew are awesome, but really the characters and the actors are all very, very good. I really don't have a character that I feel is too misplaced or done dirty in any kind of way. Like with the previous Fox era, before Marvel and Disney bought Fox and got the rights to the X-Men and Fantastic Four, the previous iterations of a lot of these characters aren't that good. You know, we talked about how with Cyclops, he was done incredibly dirty. And the same could be probably said for the Fantastic Four. I mean, they really didn't have good iterations to show themselves in the limelight that they really should have. And here with the Fantastic Four first steps, this is definitely the best we've seen of this Fantastic Four group, and maybe the best that we'll see them in a very long time. They did a very good job adapting them and really understanding the characters and how to deliver them, just from the actor standpoint, from the characters and the way they deliver lines and banter. It's all very fun. I really do enjoy what they did here. And just running through our main cast here, number one is Pedro Pascal, who's been on a generational run to the point where people are very annoyed by just how much of a generational run he's actually been on. He's been in so many things that people are actually starting to get a little bit upset by it, which I definitely understand, but still, he's a very talented guy, and he's up here for a reason. And in case maybe you're listening to this episode in like 2055 and you're really confused in terms of what kind of run is Pedro Pascal on in 2025 and 2024 and even going into the future, this year he's been in Eddington, he's been in Fantastic Four First Steps, he was also in The Last of Us, he was also in The Materialist for 2024, or 2025, I'm sorry, that's already 4 projects. Then going into just last year, if we're combining 2024 and 2025, he's been in Gladiator 2 as well, The Wild Robot. He was also in Driveway Dolls, which was a pretty weird movie. No one really saw it, but still, it was a cool one. And then even besides that, he was in a random little short film called Strange Way of Life in 2023. He's been in a lot of different things, which makes people definitely annoyed by him. But, still, he was solid here as Mr. Fantastic, and definitely, I think, the best he's ever been, for sure. I think that everyone in this movie plays the character the best by a clear, 100 miles. Another one here is Vanessa Kirby, who is incredible. She was recently in Mission Impossible, and, I haven't really seen her in a lot of movies myself, personally, but still, she did a fantastic job as Sue Storm. I'm not even that big of a Sue Storm fan, but after this movie, I definitely am. Then a personal favorite of mine, I'm a huge fan of the bear. I'm definitely a top 3 fan of the bear in the entire world. And Ebon Moss-Bachrach. This is not my first time seeing or hearing about this guy. I've seen him in a few movies, but still mainly was the bear, and he is incredible in that show. I mean, he's really definitely one of the top 3 best actors in that show, alongside Jeremy Allen White, and also, what's her name again? I forgot. What's that one girl's name? But still, wild thing about that, he's great here as the Thing. I mean, the Thing is obviously a big CGI guy, but still his line delivery that he has in The Bear alongside Iowa Debris, that's her name, Iowa Debris and Molly Gordon and Jeremy Allen White and Jamie Lee Curtis in that show, The Bear 2. He's great in that show, and here it's not the same character, obviously, but he just brings that energy and that delivery that he has in that show. And I love that show because of him and the food as well. And here in the movie, Ben Grimm is awesome. I definitely think that maybe he's better in other iterations, but still here he did a great job. And also for the last guy who's also on a generational run here as well is Joseph Quinn, who was in Gladiator 2, also Quiet Place Day 1, Warfare earlier this year. He was also cast recently to be in that Beatles trilogy of 4 movies. I don't know what that's called. A quadruple, I guess is what it would be called. Yeah, he's going to be playing in that new Beatles thing they're doing as George Harrison, and he's an incredible actor. I said it before here too, but in Warfare, he has maybe the best performance in Warfare alongside an incredibly stacked cast of incredible actors. And, here in Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm is very cool as well. Maybe, I do like everyone in the movie, but I think that I might like Chris Evans as Human Torch a little bit more than here. Not to say that Joseph Quinn is bad, but I feel like maybe a little bit that Chris Evans might be a little bit better. Also for Ben Grimm, like I said, Emon Moss-Bachrach is awesome as Ben Grimm, but maybe I like the Fantastic one a teeny bit more. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I might be kind of tired and a little bit cranky from the Chick-fil-A, but still, I like everyone. But, maybe those ones a little bit more in the earlier years and the earlier iterations. But, still, who's definitely a lot better here is Galactus. Galactus in Fantastic Four 2 was a giant fart cloud, and here he's actually a person in a chair, a giant cosmic being who is what he should be, not a giant fart cloud. And Ralph Edenson has maybe the best voice in Hollywood. He is incredible in everything. I truly couldn't see anyone else being Galactus. I mean, his voice is just perfect for the role, and he was fantastic as the Green Knight in that one movie. He was great, and here, bringing that same voice into Galactus, I couldn't ask for really any more than him being here and being this good. It was an absolute treat. And then for our final highlight here is actually going to be for Silver Surfer. And I feel like everyone, the switch up for the character is really crazy. I remember when we first saw that Julia Garner was going to be Silver Surfer, everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be woke and it's going to be so stupid. But now that we actually got it and people are realizing that Julia Garner is maybe the best version of Silver Surfer, even better than the one from the movie back in 2000s era of Fantastic Four, maybe even better than that one. She's an incredible actress, just, alone. She's really, really good of an actress, but in a lot of really good shows and movies. And her coming here into this role and being this good, I mean, it's really incredible. I love her as an actress. She's really good. And here, she was incredible here also. And they haven't officially been announced for any future movies yet, but obviously Galactus and Julia Garner's Silver Surfer most likely they're going to come back. I think maybe in Doomsday they can come back. They haven't been announced yet, like I said. But, I'm not going to spoil what happens in the movie. But I think that most likely we're going to see them down the line eventually. I talked about it last week with the whole MCU reboot thing. Most likely, I think that they're not going to recast Julia Garner as Silver Surfer or even Ralph Ineson as Galactus. I think that most likely they're going to stay around for a bit and not be recast anytime soon. They're just too perfect of actors and actresses to be recast anytime soon. And a couple more pros here before I just head out of the pros here for the movie is that, number one, the script and story is very solid. They make me really care about what's happening. Like I said, the story is very dark. It's very high stakes. And that, I think, makes it just that much better and engaging in the audience. And obviously, once again, seeing this movie in IMAX, an IMAX presentation, is the best way to watch any movie. And that just really elevated everything so much more. I actually saw this movie I saw dox myself, whatever. I saw it at the Regal Point in Orlando. If you live in Florida, that's a great theater to go to. The IMAX screen and the way the seats are just so close to the screen, I kid you not, I feel like I'm a part of the movie. I feel like I'm a part of the action, a part of the experience. I sound like I'm sponsored by IMAX, but I swear I'm not at all. But please go see this movie and really every movie in IMAX. I mean, this movie and also Superman in IMAX, those have been just some incredible life experiences. This movie, on the biggest screens possible, is just essential. And just the sequences that have just so much scope and scale in the story are just 10 times better on an IMAX screen. And my last big pro for the movie is that this movie definitely has that Phase 1 feel. I've been seeing a lot around on the internet, people saying that Fantastic Four is Marvel understanding and relearning how to make a Phase 1 movie. And I'll definitely circle back to this when I talk about the future of Marvel as we go into Avengers Doomsday. But still, this movie being able to introduce just characters that I have no idea who they are and still making me care and love and laugh and cry for them is what makes the MCU special. Like Marvel being able to make me cry over a talking tree and talking raccoon is what makes me coming back every single time they come up with a new movie. And Fantastic Four, once again, it is the best Fantastic Four movie by far. Once again, the bar was very, very low. But what this movie did, it made me, one, love the Fantastic Four in the MCU. But still, this movie, even though the previous movies are very, very bad, once again, we did an entire podcast series on me just hating and regretting watching those films. Regardless of all that, this movie, Fantastic Four First Steps, was able to just reinfuse and just reignite my love and passion for the Fantastic Four, even though it was never really there. I never really had a love or passion for them after watching those three movies, but still, I found a way to love the characters themselves, and regardless of whatever vessel those characters are presented to me in, whether it's Fantastic or Fantastic Four First Steps or a comic book or a TV show, I still found a way to love Marvel's First Family so much more with this movie. I definitely really did enjoy it, and I really did love it. I mean, really, if you want to see more of Fantastic Four movies and just want to see more of Marvel going back to their roots of Phase 1-esque vibey movies, this is a great place to start, and definitely a fantastic, no pun intended at all, a fantastic step for Marvel to take right now. So now those are a lot of pros, but still I do have one single con. And it's not exactly small, but still, it's one single con with the movie, and that con is the pacing. The pacing is the biggest enemy, even bigger than Galactus with this movie. The biggest enemy with the movie is the pacing. The pacing is just way too quick. I feel like we don't have enough time with the characters. It's just way too fast, which definitely, I understand, it respects your time. The movie has really no point to slow down. But still, I feel like the movie could have greatly appreciated and definitely benefited from being a little bit longer. The movie is only it's like an hour and 56 minutes long. I say if the movie is like 2.5 hours long, it will be, I think, maybe 4.5 out of 5, maybe. If it has more moments with the Fantastic Four, more moments for character development, instead of like the movie, like I said, I do love the characters and there being acted very well. Like Pedro Pascal is great, and I understand. While I was watching the movie, he really does disappear into the role of Mr. Fantastic, and I do love this very weird and random. I noticed that we've never had a Latino play Mr. Fantastic. It's not a problem at all, but still, it was a kind of weird adjustment in the beginning, but still, it was really good to see him be that good as Mr. Fantastic that I wish we got more than him just being in the Baxter building, in his lab, and in action scenes. It's really all business and no party or fun, which is definitely understandable, but still, it would have been nice to have more personal moments with the characters. Once again, I understand the movie is about Galactus. Galactus is literally here. There's no time for that kind of moment in the movie, but still, it could have benefited for sure. I even saw someone else say a little bit recently in a podcast clip I saw someone say that Johnny Storm in the movie is so good. Joseph Quinn, he's so good in the movie, but it feels like he's trapped in a room the entire film, and that he only talks to like 5 people in the movie. We really, I think, could have benefited and needed more scenes of everyone. Everyone just being themselves and having more time to build development with the characters a little bit more. And I understand we're going to be going into Avengers Doomsday, and the Fantastic Four are going to be in that movie, and most likely in Secret Wars, seeing how big Mr. Fantastic and the Fantastic Four are in that story, that most likely we're going to see them in that film also, so that won't be that big of a surprise either. So we're going to get more time with the characters, but still, I was a little bit upset by just how fast the film was. I feel like when we got to the third act of the movie, it feels like I was just getting to know everyone, and now it's over, which definitely felt very rushed and jarring by just how quick the film is. And once again, I understand the film has massive stakes and there's really no time for fun or games. It's very quick, but I think that really it could have benefited from being 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Really could have made this movie have a world of a difference in terms of the pacing and structure, but maybe it just had to be this short. I mean, who knows? But regardless, my score for the film is a B right now. It's not a B plus, not a B minus, purely a B for now. And I say go see it. It's definitely a solid movie. It had a lot of fun, and I think you will too. It's a really good movie. I definitely am impressed by what Marvel has been able to do this year. Besides Captain America, that movie I heard wasn't good, but still with Thunderbolts and also with Fantastic Four First Steps, they've shown growth and they've shown them going back to, I know Bob Iger, he came back as CEO, and they said they're definitely trying to prioritize more of quality over quantity instead of them, the past few years, Marvel has just been throwing everything on the wall to see what sticks and makes the next big franchise instead of really taking time to slow down and develop everything and give everything a little bit more loving care. And I'm happy to see that Marvel is going back to the roots of incredible, incredible filmmaking. And now that our very massive month of superhero madness is over, the question now on maybe everyone's mind, and definitely one that I'm happy to answer right now, is Marvel versus DC. Which one right now is in the better position? And I think that right now, if I'm being just very honest, respectfully honest right now, I think that DC, as of right now, July 2025, is in the better position than Marvel. And I'll explain why. Number one is that these two movies this month, for the month of July, I do think that respectfully, it was a very emotional day for me and a very emotional review. But I think that Superman is better than Fantastic Four First Steps. And in terms of Marvel, like for the next 5 years, or 6 years, whatever, which one am I most excited for and most hope in? I say DC. Mainly because with Marvel right now, their two biggest movies are Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Then they're going to be going into a reset where they can recast whoever they want and cast whoever they want in a new, younger X-Men. And that's going to be cool to see them restructure everything to focus more on the Fantastic Four and X-Men and more of the mutant side of things or whatever. But still, I think that in terms of who I have more hope for and who has the most potential, right now it is DC. Now that they have someone who's actually competent at the head of the ship here, with Superman being great, Peacemaker Season 2 comes out next month, and it most likely will be great also. then they're going to keep the momentum going for years to come. Right now, a Wonder Woman film is being fast-tracked right now. They definitely want to do that Wonder Woman film within the next couple years latest right now. So, yeah, I think that right now, the most hope lies with DC. But still, with Marvel, I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I do definitely have some hope for Marvel again for sure. And in case you want to just happen to hear why I am excited for it, last week I did do a full big news breakdown in terms of all the big Kevin Feige news. That'll explain everything in that episode, but still, kind of, TLDR, Marvel's going to be doing a massive reset into one singular timeline kind of thing. And we're going to be going into a new era that's going to be mainly focused on the X-Men. We might be seeing some characters recast. Kevin Feige came out and said that he's open to recasting characters. So, Iron Man, Captain America could be recast. Even Black Panther could be cast as Damson Idris this time around. So they can, respectfully recast Chadwick Boseman without coming under fire for it. So yeah, still, there's a lot to go through. But right now, as it stands, I am more excited for DC. DC is, I think, in a better position than Marvel for various different reasons as we go through with, Superman being good. Peacemaker's going to be good as well. Marvel right now is on a redemption arc right now. They're not on a, hey, we're in a brand new universe, let's start fresh. They're on, we mess everything up and we're trying to make it right era right now, which is really not an area you want to be in any means, shape, or form. And now with Fantastic Four out of the way, let's just go ahead and very quickly I'll give my thoughts on the new Avatar trailer and also for the new Odyssey trailer with Christopher Nolan. So number one is for Avatar. I saw this in theaters and it is now on YouTube. And this movie, before the trailer even came out, before we even got a glimpse of a first look, this movie was in my maybe top 5 most anticipated for the year. And that still stands even after the trailer. I mean, what James Cameron is able to do with the scope and spectacle of science fiction in the Avatar world is just breathtaking. Whether you enjoy the films or not, you have to, as someone who enjoys art and movies, you have to be someone who at the very least respects James Cameron's ambition for filmmaking and these sci-fi films. So for that reason, yes, I will be there in IMAX on that opening weekend to see this movie, and it's going to be incredible. I really do think it will be. And I remember seeing the Avatar Way of Water movie. That movie came out at a time in my life that I really needed it. It definitely was a comfort film for me when it first came out. And this movie might be the same here too. The action looks awesome. The score is going to be incredible. Zoe Saldana, the incredible CGI with that team. I think it's Weta doing it. I think Weta Digital is doing it. They're awesome. They're incredible. It looks spectacular. It looks just more breathtaking. It did breathtaking, incredible things like 20 years ago. And even in 2025, it looks incredible here too. So I am incredibly hyped for the movie. It's going to be solid. I definitely think it's going to be a solid movie. I really do hope it is. And also going to be probably like 5 hours long. But once again, I'm still going to be there for it. So with my Fantastic Four and also Avatar trailer thoughts out of the way, now it's time for the final thing on today's agenda, is the Odyssey trailer. And if you haven't seen the Odyssey trailer, I'm not going to exactly spoil it for you. It's just a teaser, so it doesn't really matter. But with the Odyssey trailer, we get small glimpses of Tom Holland and also John Bernthal and a teeny bit of Matt Damon as the role of Odysseus. But with that new movie from Christopher Nolan, the Odyssey movie, I think, might be the greatest film of all time. And that is such a heavy glaze and super heavy just expectations for a movie. But I really think that the Odyssey movie might be the greatest movie ever made. And that is coming from just an incredible, humble opinion from a Christopher Nolan fan who's seen all of his movies except for some random little short films here and there. I've seen all his movies. I have a lot of them on 4K Blu-ray. And just as a fan and as a fan of movies, I think that what he is doing is going to be the greatest movie of all time. That is my humble opinion. I've seen the trailer twice now in IMAX, and just what he's doing, what I'm hearing in the trailer, what I'm seeing in the performances, it is, I think, really, once again, it's not like a broken record. I think it's going to be the greatest movie ever made. Greater than any of the Dune movies, any of the Star Wars or the Rings. I think it will be the number one greatest movie of all time. That is my very humble and very generous, I think, opinions and expectations for the movie. So yeah, that's it right now for the Odyssey trailer. I saw it. It's not on YouTube right now, so you can't go see it on YouTube. It's only in theaters at this very second. So it definitely go to your nearest IMAX theater and pray you get to see the trailer again, because I've seen it twice now, and twice it's been spectacular. And yeah, I understand that the movie, it comes out in a year from now, and we really, in this teaser, it's not that much, because once again, it's coming out in a year, so it's a very long wait right now. But still, based on the little smidgen clips I've seen, once again, this will be the greatest movie ever made in cinematic history. That's all of U.S. cinema, all of Korean cinema, Japanese cinema, French cinema. I don't care. This is going to be the greatest movie ever made forever. It will never be topped ever in history. It's going to be the greatest thing of all time. That is my very humble and generous expectation. So that's, take it as you want. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it as however you want to take it. But still, just go watch the trailer and you might see that I'm right. You'll see and understand that Logan's right. He's not going insane. This will really be the greatest thing ever made. So that's really, I think, enough of me yapping and glazing Christopher Nolan. That happens like once a day. But still, that's enough of me yapping for the day. This has definitely been a very fun episode. Once again, I say you should go see Fantastic Four First Steps. And also, we did a full series going through every single of the live-action Fantastic Four films, except for the one in the 90s. We're not going through that. It was a TV special that never came out, so I'm not going to really care about it at all. And also, in addition to that, we do have our Superman series is still up right now. We went through every single Superman film. That was also a very fun one to go through. And if I didn't say in this episode already, I just want to say thank you to everyone for supporting the show. You keep the lights on, you keep the fridge full for this podcast, and you make this entire thing possible. And I really do thank you for that. It really means a lot to me. So definitely very huge thank yous. And next week, I might be talking about that new Weapons horror film, or in the next episode, I might be talking about my most anticipated movies left in the year. So it's going to be a lot of things coming out in the rest of the year that I'm very excited for. But until next time, obviously, stay swagged out, stay cool, watch more films. Definitely go see Fantastic Four. It's a solid movie. And until next time, I'm your host, Logan. I'll see you guys in the movies.